Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna continue the story What If Hinata Did Solo Leveling Part 6. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Naruto became enraged and yelled, "Hey Teme, get back here," as Sasuke pushed past him to enter the reception area ahead of him. Sasuke had just declared, quite boldly, that, as team leader, it only seemed right that he be the first inside, saying that Naruto would have to get used to obeying him anyway once he turned into a Chunin. Sakura watched the two boys compete to be the first through the door, and all she could do was sigh in frustration. However, she had noticed that some of the bitterness that had always pervaded their interactions had vanished since Hinata's recent reprimand. Sakura shook her head and thought, well, I guess the world would probably be ending, or something, if they didn't fight. Sakura moved up behind the boys, kicking them in the back as they appeared to be losing ground, causing them to collapse onto the ground in a heap. Sakura-chan a Euro. As he tried to free himself from Sasuke's limbs, Naruto complained, so mean. HN. With pink cheeks, Sasuke got up from the floor. Lately, he had noticed that he would always find himself in awkward situations if he allowed himself to get swept up in the annoying blonde's pace. You know, it would be fantastic if one day you two could go without squabbling in a macho attempt to win my affection. It's not like Sasuke-kun has to work very hard to achieve that. By the end, Sakura burst into a little fit of giggles. A tiny twinge of resentment toward Sasuke surged through Naruto as Sakura continued to swoon over him. Strangely enough, though, it wasn't as noticeable as usual. The thought crossed his mind, must be excited about all of the butt I'll be kicking later. Kakashi had informed them earlier that morning of the location of the exam's first phase. What surprised me the most was that he was only an hour late, instead of the 3 hours he usually was. After wishing them well, he had told them that he had a lot riding on their success and left in a tone that seemed oddly serious for the usually laid-back shinobi. He sprang to his feet, thinking, Kakashi-sensei is counting on us, and as future Hokage I can't stop here. First step Chunin, next Hokage Dabbeo. He sobbed as he violently approached the reception desk and slammed his ID. Uzumaki Naruto here, let's get this exam started. Behind the desk, the confused Chunin could only look in astonishment at the orange monstrosity before him. The Chunin shook his head and gestured to the corner of the room where a number of chairs were arranged. 2 Suna shinobi teams and 1 Kiri team were giving Team 7 some very strange looks in this waiting area. A red-faced after running up to Naruto and giving him a hard blow to the head, Sakura dragged him into a quiet corner of the room. She bowed and said, sorry for the disturbance, taking a seat next to Sasuke. Suddenly waking up, Naruto felt a bruise starting to form on top of his head, so he gingerly rubbed it. He groaned to himself, Che, Sakura-chan hits hard as usual, and carefully made his way to a seat, sensibly deciding to sit beside Sasuke rather than his more fickle teammate. The receptionist called for one of the Suna teams to go through a door at the end of the room just as he was about to start talking. Sakura went on to say that each team would have to pass through that door for the first part of their exam, and that's what he had been told while he was napping. It would be up to Team 7 to wait their turn to be called. The Suna team emerged after what seemed like a short while, but was actually closer to 3 or 4 minutes, as the door opened once more. When they had first entered with a confident swagger and a ton of confidence, they now returned with shell shock and glassy eyes. One of the men from the other Suna team yelled, Oi, what happened in there? The receptionist led them to another area after all he could muster was a mumbled whisper of, complete monster. Upon his arrival back, he gestured for the Kiri team to proceed next. As the door shut behind them, they said something disparaging about how obviously unfit the sand snakes were for the job, even though they appeared a little unnerved. What do you think is behind there? Sakura spoke in hushes to her associates. Perhaps a spirit, Naruto shuddered. It's not a ghost Dobi. Sasuke rolled his eyes in response. Like the previous team, the Kiri ninja disappeared a few minutes later, appearing defeated and stunned. The Kiri team questioned, how is something so old so nimble? As they were shown to the next room. It's a ghost. The first team called it a monster, remember, this team called it old. As he started to bite his fingernails, Naruto spoke. Sasuke whispered, I'm not having this conversation with you, as the final Suna team member entered the room. There was a tense silence, and then the door opened again to reveal another gaunt Suna team. They muttered, "None of our attacks even connected." Naruto shot up from his seat and gestured to the door. "See, totally a ghost." "We need to prevail even if it's a ghost," Sasuke reluctantly conceded. "What's so bad about ghosts?" Sakura asked, but all it took was for Naruto to suddenly appear in front of her, take her by the shoulders, and look her in the eyes. Sakura was momentarily taken aback by the overwhelming power in his gaze. "Ghosts are the worst things in the world, Sakura-chan. The fact that everything just passes through them prevents them from eating," he yelled, "and that means they can't even eat ramen. Only the most vile, evil beings in the world would be unable to partake in the God-given glory that is ramen." He started giving sermons. She thought, and the feeling of admiration is gone, while Naruto carried on with his sermon. "Him," a voice called out from behind. "You're up next if you kids are done messing around," the receptionist said, gesturing to the door. Team 7 turned to look in the door together, a growing sense of dread creeping in. Sasuke chose to take the initiative and pull his two allies up to the door after noticing the pale expression on Naruto's face. "Dobi, focus on the game," reprimanded Sasuke. Naruto complained, "You don't need to tell me that," as his competitive nature started to return. Sakura asked, "Guys, are we going in or not?" Sasuke moaned as he entered the room after pushing open the door. "Shay, trying to leave me behind. Jerk." Sakura entered the room moments after Naruto, who moaned to himself as he also shoved in. When the door closed behind them, they looked over and saw a figure standing in the opposite corner of the room. The figure's arms and legs were clearly visible through a mesh underlay underneath his dark gray shinobi battlesuit. Perched on top of his head was an armored hood with his leaf forehead protector prominently displayed in the middle. Two long black traps that extended all the way to the figure's feet were tied to the hood, along with metal greaves that lined the sides for added protection. A big metallic bow staff gleamed menacingly in the room light as it was held in his hand. GG. The god of shinobi, Sarutobi Hiruzen, focused all of his attention on them, and Naruto growled in bewilderment. "Hello, Naruto-kun. Welcome to the Chunin exam's first phase. To pass, all you have to do is get past me." The three sets of eyes widened together, but they were not allowed to respond to what the elderly man had said. He said, "I hope you three have prepared yourselves because the exam starts now," and he threw himself off the ground. Hiruzen suddenly materialized in the center of their formation, and before any of them had a chance to move an inch, he swept each of their legs out from under them, sending them all tumbling to the ground. One rare moment of agreement struck Team 7 as they all turned to face the aging Hokage from where they stood on the ground. Crap.
I will continue the story in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.